was your weekend?
You got that straight.
Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Assessment Appeals Board hearing for Tulare County, January 26, 2015. On the board panel today are myself, George Zunian, chairman, William McKinley, and Matthew Graham. Serving as alternate one is Glenn Fowler, and alternate two, Lance Morris. Any comment from the staff?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, Barb Grunwald, hearing panel advisor. Mara will be our normal second chair for these meetings, but she's out on vacation, so we have Jennifer McNichols from our team assisting me this morning.
And I understand we have a new member on the board for the assessor. Someone like to represent the assessor and make comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, council, clerk of the board. As you may have noticed, Ms. Lee is no longer with us. She left the department on December 30th and is now the Honorable Christy Lee and serves as the Kings County's Assessor, Clerk Recorder, Register of Voters, and she was officially sworn in on January 5th. And today I'd like to present to you Christy's replacement, and that's Tom Beagle. He is now our new Chief Auditor Appraiser, and he officially started on January 12th, so please go easy on him. This is his first day here and his first experience in a board hearing in this capacity. He's been with our department since 2007, and most recently was supervising the ag crew. He has a bachelor's degree in accounting from Fresno State. Christy set the bar very high for our audit division, but Roland and I are very confident in Tom's skills and abilities and that he will pick up right where Christy left off. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you and welcome.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Also, we have a new attorney on our litigation team, and Kevin Stimmel is advising the assessor this morning.
Welcome. We'll quickly go through, and I think we have agenda item number 2 has been withdrawn. Is that correct?
Yes.
Clerk? And also withdrawn is agenda item number, I'm going to get my number 6 and number 9, correct? Okay, and we still have agenda item number 10 is no confirmation?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we'll go to item number 3, Lectellus American Group, DBA Mozzarella Fresca. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning, board. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's that?
I said good morning.
Okay. In effect, you're the first item on the agenda, and basically the clerk will swear you in and read in the case number, and then we will actually get sworn in with the assessor, two of you together. So, Madam Clerk, go ahead and start.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before the Assessment Appeals Board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Please state your name.
Jason Morris, Ernst & Young, agent for the applicant.
Rick Rosales.
I'm going to go ahead and read in the application
please.
number. Application number 2013-00420, APN number 230-110-014-000.
And typically, the clerk or the applicant will give us a summary of what the case is about. Would you like to do that?
Actually, we have a little bit of administrative work here. First, I'd like to withdraw the real property component of this appeal.
Okay.
Okay.
And the assessor is aware of that?
We are.
Okay.
The appraiser is, yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yeah, technically, we have to look at the whole property.
Okay.
So we don't approve a withdrawal motion on part of it what we can do later is stipulate to accept their, is vote to accept their stipulation on the real
Right.
property.
And in effect, basically what we're talking about is real property? Business, personal, business?
This is business personal property, sir. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We actually like to request a 90-day continuance. I've been working with Mr. Rosales on this case. We've provided some information for him. He came back with a couple questions, and we're still trying to get that information together for him. We do have a 2014 appeal outstanding for this case as well, so we were thinking that maybe the best way to do it would be to combine the two, hear them both in the same day, save the county a lot of time, and hopefully before that time we could possibly resolve it.
Okay, is that agreeable with the assessor?
Yes.
It is for me. If it's agreeable for Tom, then we're good.
Okay, so 90 days out would be
Well, actually, we don't meet in
April.
February, March, April. We don't meet in April or May, so June.
Be June, whatever that date is in June.
June
which-
15th.
What's that?
June 15th.
June 15th? Is that acceptable?
It is, sir. Thank you.
And the assessor? Acceptable to the assessor?
Yes.
June
Yes.
15th. Okay. Then do I hear a motion to continue to June 15th on agenda item number 3?
Technically, it'll be a postponement since we haven't heard any evidence yet.
Oh, postponement. Okay, I'm sorry. Do I hear a motion for a postponement?
I move that we postpone application number 2013-00420, June 15th.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, we're continued to postpone to June 15th.
Great. Thank you, sir.
And
Okay.
just to remind the board, the reason that matters is that if we have started hearing evidence, then we need to make sure it's the same panel. But if we haven't heard any evidence yet, then it can just be
Postponement could be any
Can be the
whatever
panel
the
of
sitting
the day,
panel is at the
yeah.
time. Okay, good. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, which is Wawona Packing. Somebody representing Wawona Packing here? Like to step forward? And if the assessor will swear you in and read in the case number.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before the Assessment Appeals Board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Karen Morris.
Jane Massey.
Rick Rosales.
Okay, this is business personal property.
Chairman, I'm going to go ahead and read in the
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Application number 2012-00737, APN number 032-050-039-000. Application number 2012-00742, APN number 032-050-039-000.
And can I get the second person's name and spelling again, please?
Jane Massey, Jayne, Massie.
Title?
A business support manager.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a business personal property issue. The applicant will basically go first. Can you give us a general summary of what this case is about?
Yes, our client had a long-time professional who did all their tax work and all their property tax work. This person, unbeknownst to them, had kind of stopped doing this. We came along and we were hired to do the 2011 filing, which was for the 2010 activity. So when we came along, we asked for copies of the prior CPA, and she never responded to us. So then we asked from the county, and that's when we found out that these had not been filed. So we went ahead and got them all caught up to date. So basically what we're trying to, the only thing we're contesting is the penalty, because our client has always filed on time. Since then, I think the county can see that we've always filed timely and cooperated, and we're just trying to abate the penalties because this was a one-time thing. They didn't know this hadn't been happening, And I think when you look at, it says that we sent a letter saying we respectfully request abatement based on reasonable cause, which is the facts and circumstances. Reasonable cause relief is generally granted with the taxpayer if they exercised ordinary business care and prudence in determining their tax obligations. So that's our position, is we agree with the assessment. We're requesting abatement of the penalty because this was a one-time thing.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to let the assessor present his arguments, and then if you would like to rebut his issues or vice versa after you have any additional testimony, then we'll proceed accordingly. But Mr. Assessor, what is your position?
We are not in favor. Well, the assessor does not have the authority to abate the penalties, as you know. So I would like to give my presentation to provide the evidence as to why you should uphold our assessments.
Okay.
Okay. The assessment appeal numbers are 2012-00742 for the 2009 lien date, 2012-00737, 2010 lien date. The applicant is Wawona Packing Company, LLC. The assessor's parcel number is 032-050-039-000. The total taxable value for the 2009 lien date is $20,715,542, and for the 2010 lien date, it's $26,598,749. Excuse me. The assessor's opinion is the same as the total taxable value for those 2 years, and the applicant's opinion of kit value is for the 2009 lien date, $19,722,872. And for the 2010 lien date, $25,236,915. The subject property is a packing house located on 12133 Avenue 408 in Cutler, California. The equipment consists of fixed packing and movable farm equipment. If you want to see a breakdown of the assessments, please visit Exhibit A.
Do you have a package?
Exhibits?
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm sorry. We forgot about that. I'm barely getting to the nuts and bolts of this, so you guys haven't missed anything. This is off the record, but I kind of have a plugged ear, so I could barely hear myself, so I'm speaking a little bit louder. So
We'll bear with you.
Okay. If you visit Exhibit A, it details the enrolled values for the 2009 and 2010 years. You'll find those years up on top. The penalty values will appear on the right-hand column under all assessments. So for 2009, the penalty value was $992,670, and if you flip the page for 2010, the penalty value was $1,361,834. Are you guys able to see those?
Yep.
Okay. Back to my presentation. Summarization of facts. The applicant failed to file a business property statement with the Tulare County Assessor's Office for lien dates January 1, 2009 and 2010. As a result of this non-filing, a 10% penalty was applied to their assessments for both years. This penalty is mandated per Revenue and Taxation Code 463, which reads as follows. Penalty for failure to file statement. If any person who is required by law or is requested by the assessor to make an annual property statement fails to file an annual property statement within the time limit specified by Section 441, or make and subscribe the affidavit respecting his or her name and place of residence, a penalty of 10% of the assessed value of the unreported taxable tangible property of that person placed on the current row shall be added to the assessment made on the current row. If you visit Exhibit B, it gives you verbatim the penalty that's coming from the state board's website. That's just extra reading for for you if you wish to read it. Per R&T Code Section 441, Section B also, the penalty provided by Section 463 applies for property statements not filed by May 7th. You'll see that in Exhibit C. So basically, the penalty date is May 7th. If we don't receive a signed property statement by that date, by law, we have to apply a 10% penalty. Property statements are mailed by the assessor's office in late January of every year, providing the applicant with at least 3 months to turn in their statement before R&T Code 463 can be applied. So every year in January, we mail out the property statements. The assessor contends that the applicant's appeal application for lien date 2009 is invalid based on an untimely appeals filing. The applicant was audited by the assessor's office for lien dates 2008 through 2011. For lien date 2009, the audit revealed that the applicant had been originally overassessed and a credit for 2009 was issued to the applicant per the audit results. Outside of the regular assessment period, an applicant can only appeal an escape assessment based on an audit per R&T Code Section 1605, Section E, which you'll find in Exhibit D if you wish to read at your convenience. Therefore, the applicant's appeal deadline for a 463 penalty would have been November 30th, 2009 per R&T Code Section 1603, which you also find in Exhibit E. The applicant filed their appeal on March 25th, 2013, almost 3.5 years after that deadline. Basically, I'm stating that they filed their appeals for the 2009 year too late. They couldn't file it based on the audit because they received a credit. They should have filed by November 30th of 2009 for that 2009 year. For the 2010 year, the assessor contends that the applicant has not established reasonable cause to abate the 463 penalty. The applicant failed to file for 2 years in a row in spite of having prior assessor audits performed on their business and having a general understanding of personal property tax laws and due dates. The assessor considers that it is the applicant's responsibility to oversee any advisor and ensure that yearly filings are completed and turned in on time. Internal controls are part of any organization's processes, and it is ultimately the applicant's responsibility to maintain these controls through checks and balances and or internal auditing procedures. In other words, the applicant had ample time to file timely, and assessment notices were sent where this should have been caught after the 2009 year internally by the applicant's accounting department. With that said, the assessor kindly requests that the board uphold their application of R&T Code Section 463 based on the applicant's failure to file for years 2009 and 2010.
Okay. This is not a situation where we're talking about a few days. We've had issues where someone has sent a property tax in. It was rejected by the assessor. 3 or 4 or 5 days later, they corrected it after the penalty, after the due date, and that was an issue of understanding and how to get the thing filed. But this is years. So in effect, is there any reason why you missed it?
We didn't miss it. We weren't engaged by the client at that point in time.
I understand. But why do you think the client?
Because they relied on this longtime trusted person who basically dropped the ball and just quit practicing and didn't let them know.
So really this is what the case really boils down to.
It is.
Why did they miss it?
And
they really missed it because they had a trusted employee that dropped the ball.
They relied on a trusted advisor, yes.
Yeah. I'll open it up to the panel if you'd like to.
I know we're not
Stanley?
dealing with internal revenue law, but quite often the idea of relying on previously proven advisors is accepted by the IRS as a basis for a reasonable cause. I've had many penalties abated because of similar amounts, similar things.
Right.
I know that that's not this law, but that's the law that we have.
It's something that occurs.
Yeah. The problem I'm having here is what about the payment of taxes? Weren't the taxes lower than they expected, or in other words, how did they not know something was amiss?
That accounting department that he's referring to is one person, and as somebody, it's that she's got an assistant now. At that point in time, it was one person, and she, as somebody who requests stuff from her, she's got so many requests that I can understand that she just paid whatever it was, the bill was, and just went.
But there was taxes assessed and paid?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think the county, when they did the audit, actually was overpaid. The taxes were overpaid for the nine-year, correct?
For the 2009 year, there was a credit issued per the audit to the applicant, and then for the 2010 year, there was an escape.
I have a question.
Yeah, Mr. Graham?
Yeah, I mean, my question was the same as Mr. McKinney's. But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a couple days. We're talking a couple of years here. So, I mean, I understand this is a big company, and I understand things can get pushed away. But I mean, we're talking about a lot of time. So I guess my point's the same as yours.
Well, yeah, we've seen cases before where there's been confusion as to what needed to be filed. Right. The company did make an attempt to file timely, but by the time those corrections were taken, it was after the deadline. Now, that's an issue of we basically had to determine this is not a situation like that.
Well, we actually, as soon as we were engaged for the client and the property tax return filing date came up, that is when we discovered that the property taxes hadn't been filed, and we requested, when we started to work on the property taxes, we requested from the prior CPA firm the copies of the returns. She could not provide those to us, so we contacted Tulare County to make sure we got copies, and that was when we had the discovery. We did not receive the results of the audit until after we started the filing process. So it did take a long span of time for the audit to occur and us to get results back so we could make the appeal for the abatement.
I understand. Any additional comment, Mr. McKinley?
No, I'm sitting here kind of bouncing back and forth. Basically, they owed no taxes. In other words, so in effect, they had paid their taxes properly and timely. So the county has lost nothing as far as revenue is concerned.
That's true.
Yes and no, because they had to pay the penalties, so they've paid, an extra $2 million over those 2 years.
I understand that, but I mean, basically, if they had filed the returns, if they had put the paper in, the county would have got the same amount of money.
Not necessarily, because if they had filed timely for 2009 and reported accurately, our enrolled assessment would have fairly represented the value of the equipment out there. Thus, it would have been a no change per the audit if they had filed timely, and the penalty would not have hindered the assessment up or down in any manner.
Okay, all right. So it wasn't a matter that there's somebody sitting there, well, gee, this year I didn't pay any property taxes. I'm weighing it back and forth. I don't know. I welcome your comments.
Well, in the past, the board has tried everything that they could to give the taxpayer some consideration as to what the circumstances are. And we have the latitude to do that. We have, I remember one case where the taxpayer, an individual, whatever the case was, said, well, there's been road repair and the trash truck ran over the mailbox. Therefore, she couldn't get notice. In a situation like that, we could understand that those are the circumstances. But in effect, I think in a situation, where I'm hearing, because I'm somewhat in the middle here, trying to determine a fair situation. You have and I don't know just exactly how big Wawona Packing is, but I've heard the name, and it's a good-sized company. In a situation like this, they should basically have someone competent enough to understand what is due timely. And for them to miss it altogether, it just seems to be neglect on my part. This is not a minor issue with a residential taxpayer just for whatever reason. There's been a variety of reasons why someone would not file timely. But I tend to think in this particular case that the company should have known better. Somebody had to be responsible for this. And if it's the CPA firm that was taking care of it dropped the ball, somebody should have caught it. Basically, does Wawona Foods have a controller, staff employee called a controller?
No. Well, this is Wawona Packing, and no, they do not have a person in that position.
So you're relying completely on the CPA firm?
There's a bookkeeper there. Yes, but not a
Okay.
CFO.
I think maybe
Go
the
ahead.
disconnect happened because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the person who is in charge of, there's a division of the reporting. Because Wawona has a lot of plantings and pullouts and changes to their land, the girl in the office reports all of that. And so she thought that the property taxes were being reported by her reportings, not understanding possibly that the business portion was being reported by the CPA, and she needed to follow up with that because that was what they had engaged the CPA to do. So she probably was getting the tax bill, seeing that she was being billed for things, and thinking that that was generated on her reporting, not understanding that there was another portion to the business property reporting also. And I think that might have been where the disconnect happened.
Let me just ask the question, was the income tax returns filed timely?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were filed before the extension deadlines for those years.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, if I can go back, we have slightly different issues with the 2 years. The assessor is arguing, and I think from my review this morning that they are correct, that the application for 2009 is untimely.
Right.
So you would not even get to the merits of that application. If you agreed with the assessor on that, you would just say, well, we're going to find that we don't have jurisdiction of that one because it's untimely. What the statute says is the application has to be filed within the time prescribed by law for the filing of applications for assessment reductions. So normally that would be November 30th of that year. Now, when you do an audit, it can reopen those years, but if I read the rules under section 469, this is 463 penalty, the rules under 469 only reopens the application or that year if the assessor has found property subject to an escape assessment. There was a big case in the 90s where they zeroed it out. They found some that was overassessed, some that was underassessed, and they zeroed it out. And the applicant said, I need a chance to argue that those things that were overassessed, and the court agreed with that. And so it doesn't have to be an actual escape assessment. They just have to find property subject to an escape assessment. Well, here they did actually issue an escape assessment for 2010. And if I understand the assessor's argument correctly, since this application for 2010 was filed within 60 days after that, they're conceding the timeliness
Right.
of that application.
So the issue
you
is
would
2009.
you would go on to the merits of that one,
Right.
determine whether you believe, in accordance with Section 463, that their failure to file was due to reasonable cause and not due to willful neglect.
We have an issue with 2009 and 10 separately.
Correct. They filed for both years. And so unless they persuade you otherwise, my recommendation is that you find that for 2009 that you don't have jurisdiction.
Yes. Okay.
Ask a question.
Sure.
You were engaged in 2011,
To do the property taxes.
and then that's when you were aware that the property taxes had been filed. So then you filed the appeal in 13,
Well, that's
2 years later. Was that as a result? That's what I was having a hard time following. That
That's-
was a result of
the audit.
the audit getting finalized?
Correct.
Okay. And the audit was finalized?
I believe in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I couldn't
They
find
have-
that date.
They have included the notice of enrollment with their application, so it's one of the pages attached. The application is dated February 25th, and they filed their applications in March, so that was
Okay.
within that 60 days.
That's what I was trying to get at.
But the notice of enrollment only has an escape for 2010, and I mean, unless they can persuade you that there was property subject to an escape in 2009 that was zeroed out, which they have the opportunity to do, then
Thank you.
So, any
All right, now,
observations, comments?
let me go back and understand. Which year do we have the problem with the escape assessment and it not being timely? Is 2010?
2009, there is no escape assessment enrolled.
That's
Okay,
just
so
simply,
2009 we could change.
2009, you would first have to find that you have jurisdiction before you go on to the second question.
see, there's no
2010
jurisdiction there for 2009.
2010 was filed timely because there was an escape, and they did file within 60 days after that. So on that one, you're going to go on to the merits and decide whether they had reasonable cause for failing to file in 2010.
Okay, so 2010 could be for reasonable cause, 2009 could not.
Well, it could if you first find that you have jurisdiction. They'd have to persuade you that there was property subject to an escape assessment in 2009 that was not enrolled. And so that's evidence we haven't heard yet.
But that one, the 2009 was that they just missed a filing. The question is then, I think that Barbara's bringing up, is that in 2009, was there items in there that were assessed improperly that the applicant could bring up?
The applicant has brought up nothing about that
Correct.
type of thing.
Exactly.
Yet, they could do that.
So at this point, we have no evidence whatsoever that the property involved in 2009 was involved in an escape assessment.
Correct.
There's just a simple issue of failure to file.
Well, you could actually skip that and say, well, we can skip the part of whether we have jurisdiction or not because we're going to find that they didn't have a good excuse anyway. So so we don't have to go into those details for 2009. You could do that. If you're inclined to grant it, on the other hand, then you would need to go on and find out more information about whether you have jurisdiction.
Chairman, I believe that because of the amount of time involved, that this cannot be excused
For 2009?
or 2010, either one.
Either one, okay.
And I think that we should go from there, and I think we can make a decision at this point.
Bram?
Yeah, I guess my only question is, you have to have basically reason of 2010, right? You've got to have a reason why it wasn't filed, correct?
Correct, yeah. The standard under the statute is reasonable cause and not due to willful neglect.
Right.
And so that's a matter for the board's discretion to determine whether you believe they have shown
And the
reasonable cause in
reasoning
that.
for that was simply the fact that there was nobody within the company overseeing it, right? It just had been
Correct.
passed along by this employee, a longtime employee.
It was a long time. She was, at that point, was probably outside CPA, but it was a long time, like 30 years, kind of long time, very long time, and nobody was really overseeing her.
Checks and balance, basically.
It was not there. It was not there.
But once they discovered that she was not doing what she was supposed to, they immediately engaged us to
Right,
those duties. So they took action as soon as they found out.
right. Okay.
Any other questions?
No other questions on my part?
Any comments, additional comments from the assessor?
Just a final word, if you will.
Okay, we're going to summarize then both cases, and then I'll let the applicant summarize first, unless you want to have any other questions or
Yep,
issues.
however you choose.
Okay. Well, go ahead and summarize your case if you'd like.
Okay, I think it's, our case is just that the client trusted this long time trusted advisor, a CPA. Once they found that there was other things that maybe she had missed, then they changed. You were asking about the tax returns. The tax returns were going right to the deadline, and they became suspicious on that, and that's when they decided to change firms at that time. And then when we got involved, I think the county will see that everything's been filed timely since then.
Okay. Assessor?
The assessor's office attempts to practice impartiality, uniformity, and equitable standards to all the taxpayers in the county. Part of this process requires us to adhere to and uphold laws defined by Revenue and Taxation Code. The assessor's office feels it is unfair to other taxpayers in general to abate one applicant's filing penalties when others have filed timely and done their due diligence to comply with personal property tax law. The assessor respects the board's final decision and kindly requests to uphold our application of the 463 10% penalty.
Very good. Bring it back to the board. Any other observations, comments? Then do we want to wind up making a decision on this or taking it under advisement? Mr. McKinley?
I just didn't make a decision.
Graham? Okay. Do I hear a motion on this case?
You want to make a motion, or you want me to? Go ahead. I move that we fine for the assessor in this case.
Do I hear a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second to fine for the assessor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your application.
Ms. Morales, I would like to ask you, did you write this letter? I'm just going to compliment you. The next
I have to say, there's another lady in my office who's a tax
the
senior, and she
paragraph that
helped me.
says penalties by their nature, I thought was extremely well written, and I just wanted to compliment you for that.
Yeah, she writes real well.
Thank you.
Mr. Rosales, is the assessor willing to waive findings?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then we're going to agenda item number 5, JM Manufacturing Company. We have a representative for them.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Number one on the my issues are your application does not mark request for findings of fact, either that you have requested or not requested them. Are you requesting findings of fact?
We did not complete the application, but if I were to have completed it, we routinely do not request findings on applications.
Because if you did, then we need to get that paid now.
Understood, sir.
Okay. So basically, I'm going to mark not requested. Okay.
May I inquire?
Thank you. I'm James DePasquale, Kelly and Company. We're the substituted agent that took over the application last November.
Do we have that written information in the file, Madam Clerk?
Waiving their.
No, that we have a new agent.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I see it here, so thank you. I'm sorry, it's just if we
That's
have
right.
a
Thank you.
new agent at the hearing, then did all the paperwork, then we need to get written authorization before we can proceed.
Understood.
So.
Thank you.
Okay. The clerk will then swear you in and then read in your case number.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before the Assessment Appeals Board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
James DePasquale, Kelly and Company, agent for the applicant.
Thank you.
Rick Rosales.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and read in the
Okay.
application numbers. Application number 2012-00806. APN number 800-246-365-100. Application number 2012-00807. APM number 800-246-365-100. Application number 2012-00808. APN number 800-246-365-100.
Okay. Mr. DePasquale, okay. Would you like to give us an introduction as to what this case is all about?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is a personal property audit case where the assessor had issued escape assessments, and applications for change assessment were filed as a result of that. Our firm stepped in November as a substituted agent. We've gathered information, had dialogue with the assessor's office, and as we've dug deeper in, I think Mr. Rosales will agree, more questions have arisen from the audit that was prepared. It was by somebody who's no longer with the assessor's office. So we're having to sort of unravel what was done. We both agree that there's some more things we can do before we bring it before the board. So we're mutually requesting a postponement at this time.
And your postponement request is for when? How long?
I'm open. I need at least 60 days. So if it takes us into March.
We're going to be somewhat in the same issue with a prior case in the sense that the April, May months
Right.
are usually not heard.
Right.
So in that case, we would be in our June, what's the date of that meeting? June
The 15th.
June 15th. Would that be acceptable to you?
It would if Mr. Pasquale agrees to it.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about March or June, but I'll leave it up to him.
Would you like to have it postponed to March?
Well, I am a little concerned about that soon just because it could get more complicated. So June would probably be the best alternative.
Okay, so we're going to consider a postponement till June 15th, 2015. Do I hear a motion to postpone agenda item number 6 or 5?
I'll make a motion to postpone item number 5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. We're postponed until June 15th.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number
And
6 is...
just to remind the clerk that, again, as a postponement, it can just be the panel of the day in June. We won't have to list this panel as repeating that one.
Right.
Okay, agenda item number 6 has been withdrawn. Agenda item number 7 and 8, I don't see anyone in the audience. Mr. Assessor, can you give us a item or explanation as to what's going on with 7 and 8?
Somewhat. The agent for the applicant, we've submitted a request for information to substantiate their opinion of value. He had initially had a phone conversation with him. Apparently he had some type of knee surgery, and then it went quiet. We tried contacting him 2 weeks ago again. Still have yet to hear from him and or his corporation. So at this point in time, we just assume it's non-compliance with the information request, and since he's not here this morning to argue anything different.
Could I ask a question?
Go ahead.
On the first one here, number 7, he goes to somebody, Chris Koenig. Is that male or female?
Male.
Male, okay. Chris goes into a great deal of detail about how the petition was rejected and it shouldn't have been, okay, in his letter. Then in the next on agenda, it looks like they used the same authorization and it wasn't rejected. And the first one just says, okay, what we want to do is we want you to give us a chance to come back because of the application was rejected. Then in the second one, he just says, okay, here's our petition, and there doesn't seem to be any rejection on it. I'm just curious. It's not anything of serious nature because we're gonna deny for non-appearance. But am I misreading this, or what's the difference between the two applications?
Yeah, Mr. McKinley, I'm actually ignorant on this particular part of the application. I actually haven't read it. I'm going to ask Mr. Wise to maybe speak to that since he's dealt with Mr. Cohn.
Well, you can pass it off if you want.
And actually, this is done by the clerk before it even gets to the assessor.
All right, well, then,
So I can't remember this one in particular.
all right, well, it says authorization, agent's authorization. And it looks like exactly the same form on both applications. And then one of them apparently has been rejected and one of them hasn't. I don't care. It's just curiosity.
Okay. Question is a question.
Apparently the packet doesn't have a copy, so if the clerk can maybe speak to that, might help. If you have the agent's authorization form?
I think number 7 was a LLC. I didn't handle this. This was
All right, well,
Prior
okay.
clerk.
The prior clerk.
Let's
But it
drop
looks
it.
like,
We'll worry about it later. It's not that important.
Well,
but-
maybe wait.
it looks like number 7 was an LLC, and number 8, they didn't put an LLC, so I think by mistake, she may have sent saying that we needed a declaration for the application. That's what I'm trying to.
Bless you.
There's a, just for your information, there's a hole in the rules. The rules say that an appeal by a corporation, they're not an individual, they don't have a human with hands who can sign the application or the agent authorization. And there's a hole in the rules in terms of describing how you connect those dots from a corporate applicant to an agent filing. And so we're struggling with that in a prior set of amendments to the rules. And so what we put in our local rules then to fill that hole, if you look at, I think it's Rule 5, it says that if the application is filed by a corporation, then either the application or the agent authorization has to be signed by somebody who attaches a separate statement under penalty of perjury. And so it's
So it's a local rule against.
what's likely happened here, I'd have to go back and look and see if I talked to Kyria about it back then, is that it was rejected for not having that additional declaration under our local rules. And so this guy's getting on his high horse and saying, you can't do a local rule, basically. And, that's not true. We can do local rules.
Okay, I move that application 2013-00427 and application 2013-00426, items 7 and 8 on our agenda be denied for non-appearance.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny agenda item number 7 and 8 for non-appearance. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We have, I believe, covered all of the open issues. Agenda item number 9 has been withdrawn. 10 is non-confirmed. Do we need a motion on denying that for non-appearance? Okay. Do I hear a motion to deny agenda item number 10, advanced food products, for non-appearance?
I move that we deny for non-appearance item number 10 on our agenda, applications 2013-108 through 2013-00110.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion, all opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So that takes us down to the accepting the withdrawal calendar.
As well as the withdrawals on the
Withdrawal, as well as withdrawal on agenda item 2, 6, and 9. Do I hear a motion to accept the withdrawal calendar for agenda items number 2, 6, and 9, plus the withdrawal list?
I'll make the motion to, I'm sorry, what were we doing?
We were going to accept the withdrawals for agenda item number 2, 6, and 9, plus the withdrawal calendar.
I would make that motion to accept the withdrawals of 2, 4, and 9 and the withdrawal calendar.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. That takes care of all of the agenda items and the withdrawal calendar. We have come to the conclusion that there's nothing left on our agenda. Any other additional comments from the assessor?
Just one. I'm very excited to talk to the clerk this morning, and it seems like this year's filing is going to be slightly under 300
woohoo.
total.
Wow. Things are moving right along.
Thankfully.
Kind of getting out of
You know,
that recession level.
The problem
And
is that
several
the new
thousand
guy
in
didn't get to make a
2008.
vote.
We're working very hard with the
Most of the
taxpayers to ensure that that
residential
happens next time.
Oh, okay.
Again, welcome to our assessment staff, and look forward to seeing you more often.
Thank you. Good to be here.
With the 2007 values.
There being no other items before the Assessment Appeals Board for January 26th, 2015, Tulare County, the meeting is now adjourned.
I have to tell you, don't do for a room what you have a nice